be over. We are joined this morning by Mike Ingelston. We're going to talk some more CIT. You and I had a chance to talk last week about it some.
Yes, absolutely. Super excited to be here. It's my first time in the studio unsupervised.
He let you out alone.
Super excited. I know. He's probably sitting back at his desk just
thinking,
wondering.
What's he going to say?
Fingers crossed. Oh, please. He's just like, no. So
just making him a little nervous. It's okay.
It's fine.
He's just the sheriff. No big deal.
He's just the sheriff. He'll be all right.
Yeah. So CIT, new program starting here in the county, not something new necessarily across the nation, but
No.
we are taking hold of it here in Decatur County.
Correct. So, definitely new here. Not new in the state of Indiana. It's been around for quite a while. And then nationwide, probably the late 80s, 1987, 88 is what kind of caused it to come into being. But definitely new here, and we're super excited to have it. We've had a huge amount of success already. And so we're really looking forward to what the future may hold.
We talked last week a little bit about what CIT is. So let's go through the process of how CIT works. So I think that just from my interaction in the community, they're like, I keep hearing about it, but how does this work and what are we doing with it?
Well, and that's the big thing. And I know that's the big confusion and what has generated a lot of questions because I filled them all the time as you can imagine, and that's really why we wanted to get the community event going on the 29th to kind of give everybody an opportunity to come in and sit down and kind of see exactly how it works. But so we get referrals from a variety of places. Obviously, the team is designed to go out and deal with folks in crisis, and that crisis varies depending on what is going on. Everybody's level of expertise and life and education will create different avenues for crisis. But so we'll get them like a normal police or sheriff's department will get them through 911. We'll get dispatched out. Officers will get on scene and realize that they are working with a situation of something that might be beyond what they have either the capability or time to just deal with, and so they will call us out that way. A lot of times I will just come in the next morning and I'll find messages on my computer of, hey, I was out on this call last night and this is probably a good thing for a follow-up for the team to just kind of look into. And then we get them from our different community resources. We'll get them from Centerstone. They'll come in. They'll just say, hey, we're working with this group. You might want to run out and check on them, see how things are going. Neighbors will call in and say, hey, my neighbor's, drastic change in things. Or, we'll get family members that'll call in, hey, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do with this. So, and we follow up. And that's what we're designed to do, and that's what we'll continue to do.
And the goal is to provide that intervention before maybe they do make a bad decision that's going to end them up on the on the not so good side, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole purpose of this is get folks the correct treatment in the correct location for what they are experiencing. And again, that's a broad range, as you can imagine. I mean, obviously, there's going to be times where they're going to have to go to the ER, or there's going to be times where they have to come to jail. That's life. But if we can head a lot of that off on the front end, we can get them the help that they need. We're not waiting till they're in full-blown crisis, and that's where it's important for the community to be involved, because there's a lot of those folks out there that just whether it's themselves or a family member or a relative or neighbor or whoever. They see it happening, and if we can get involved in the front end and get those folks those resources, then we can kind of head off some of those just, really bad situations on the back end.
So on the 29th, it's a community night. That's going to be at the junior high?
Yeah, Greensburg Junior High School Auditorium.
Okay, what's the times?
7 p.m. to 8:30.
Okay, so what I think is really cool about this is, number one, you can meet the CIT team.
Absolutely.
And that consists of who?
So that is myself. It is my two response deputies, Tiffany McFarland and John Bundick, as well as our CIT LCSW, who is Desiree Moore.
All right, so you guys will be out there. You can meet and talk. But in addition to just the CIT program, and this is kind of what the entire community has been talking about, there will be community resources that are there and representing to offer that support to CIT.
Absolutely. We encourage all of our community partners to come out. We had, as part of our training that we had in April, our 40-hour training, we had a resource panel, community resource panel. And honestly, I've done other trainings, sat through other trainings, and you'll get 5, 6, maybe 8 folks to come in and kind of represent an agency. And we had about 25 people. I mean, I'm scrambling around the sheriff's department, taking chairs out of people's offices and things like that, just to get them seats. So it was tremendous to see the support for not only the program but for the community. I mean, those are resources that are here, have been here, but the problem has been, up to this point, a lot of those resources have been stovepiped. Everybody was kind of working the mental health resource problem, but from their own perspective. So it was really neat to get everybody in the same room together and just see how much was out there, and not just from a mental health perspective. There were food resources, clothing resources, financial resources, a lot of things that people don't necessarily think of when they think of mental health crisis, but a lot of resources and things that, because people lack those, it can create those levels of anxiety and depression or worse. So it all really comes down to that complete community wraparound.
I think that's what's important too is and we can talk neighbor or coworker, but you might see a change and you might see them acting differently, but you don't always know the backside of it. And it may not be that maybe they have a job and maybe they have a good job, but maybe they're in debt, or maybe maybe they only are the sole provider. So there's so many pieces that influence behavior that I don't think a lot of people realize.
Right. I mean, there's because you never know the backstory. I mean, you see people on the outside and they present the way they want society, whether it's family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, to view them, but inwardly we don't really see that. And that's one of the big things that I talk about when we talk to different organizations and groups about mental health is, you have to be willing to ask those hard questions. We get in the habit of passing each other in the hallway. Hey, how you doing today? Oh, okay, great. And there we go. And the problem is, one, we fail to ask ourselves on a daily basis, how are we doing? And we need more than good or bad. It's, well, I'm feeling curious, but maybe a little anxious, or, I'm feeling terrible today. So, and then in turn ask that of other people. When you ask somebody, hey, how you feeling, or how's today going? Take the time to get an answer so that you notice those differences. And then when you do notice those differences, ask those hard questions.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So
Correct.
What a great month to just kind of be kicking this off. I think it's important too that people understand, and this is again just what I get from community engagements, right? That this is not just criminal. It may be housed out of the sheriff's department, but this is not just for those in that system. The CIT program is across the community.
Absolutely. In fact, it's everything but a law enforcement program. Yes, it's based out of the sheriff's department, and traditionally these have been brought from police departments, sheriff's departments, or basically the law enforcement side, because that's where it started. That was the original model out of Memphis. But it has expanded over the years into not only a multi-agency response, but a multidisciplinary response. I mean, you've got that mental health component in there. You have that social services component in there. And it really gives that whole community response. Obviously the part of it is that aspect of responding to those calls where someone is having a mental health crisis and is not clearly regulating. But on the backside of that is, why are they not regulating? And, our goal is to start responding to the person and not necessarily the call. And I think that will change a lot of how people are seen, people are dealt with. But again, we're not only getting those calls through 911, we're getting them from the community. We're getting them from other first responders. I've had calls from EMS where they say, hey, we're out on this run and this is what we saw. And, it's always, is that something you guys will do? Answer's overwhelmingly yes, absolutely. We'll go out and check on that. Same thing from fire, volunteer fire. Other agencies that have gone out. We've been out with the health department on a few things. So it's really, we want to target the entire community and not just from a law enforcement perspective.
The other thing I really like, you guys do not dress like the rest of the sheriff's department. So it does separate you guys and stand out a little bit.
Yes, and that's intentionally. Obviously, the patrol officers need to be dressed a certain way, and some of that is for professionalism, some of it's for appearance, some of it's obviously for protection, and that's very much needed. For us, we want to look different. We want to be a little less militaristic and a little more approachable, and I think that's a big part of it. And not only in Indiana but across the nation, you see different variations of that. I mean, I know CIT groups that go out in completely plain clothes. I mean, you don't even know that they are a part of any department. But I think there's, I think having the representation, that presence kind of gets attention right away. But it's not to the point of, well, here's just another officer. Here's just somebody else with a badge and a gun to talk to. So, and that's what we want. We want us to be recognizable so that people can say, hey, I know who that is. That's CIT. Let's go talk to them. But not to the perspective of that, we're out there without any kind of protection or representation at all.
When I talk about CIT out in the community, and you and I have had this conversation as well, we talk about the cycles, right? So, and whether it's a cycle of being in jail and out of jail and having help, or it's a cycle of having food and then being in food insecurity, we talk about those cycles though and how we break those cycles. And that's kind of what we're after with this, is to provide those interventions.
Absolutely. It's completely about breaking that cycle and getting those folks the resources and help they need to not only stop what is going on currently, but then hopefully teach them and get them used to using those resources to prevent it from happening again. Because that's the only way to kind of fix this problem, and that's a huge undertaking because that problem has existed for years and years and years. But I think if we start changing minds, breaking the stigma of being able to say I need help, and then recognizing where that help comes from and what those resources are, the majority of folks out there they're not helpless. They're hopeless, and they don't have, the ability to just kind of say, hey, I need help, and where can it come from? Because on the back end of that, the vast majority of them, once they get that, they move on.
They thrive.
And they pass it on, and they thrive in the community and beyond. So, but it's breaking that stigma, it's breaking that cycle, and changing minds and changing lives. That's what it all comes down to.
So from Mike Ingelston view, why did you want to bring CIT to Decatur County?
I just saw the need. 33 years in law enforcement, with this year, most of it from the opposite side of it. It was, I was on patrol. I worked for 20 years with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And so I was on the opposite side. I was putting people in jail. I was doing all of those other things. And when I came here and took the jail commander position, I saw what happened to those folks when they ended up in a facility. And the biggest thing was we started using some of these philosophies and ideals and trainings and programs in the detention center, and we saw a drastic reduction in not only use of force, but we saw, people changing their own lives. Giving them the resources enabled them to kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps and move on. We saw folks that were coming out and going into other facilities. We saw people that were changing the way they did things. Folks that had been in and out of the facility for years were now out and staying out and being productive. And shortly after we started seeing that was, when I took the idea of the sheriff, if we can take this to the road and take it to the community, we can head this off before they even come into the facility. They don't need to have a criminal record or multiple criminal records to get help. Let's get this out to the community and get it going. And that's what we've been able to do.
So as we approach next week, will be the 29th, and that will be the night to come out and meet. But you welcome everybody, whether you are a person that you think you need help, come. If you need help, come
absolutely.
help.
Absolutely.
But if you are just interested, come and ask questions.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of this. Like I say, it's not just, okay, I don't expect anybody to walk in the door and say, hey, I have a problem. Obviously that's great, and we're more than happy to help out anybody. But it really is for the entire community to come out and see kind of exactly what we do. I've got some video clips, not of us, but there's been a few documentaries done on various groups, and we're going to show one of those to kind of give folks an idea of what we really do, because that's one of the biggest questions. Anytime you say crisis intervention team, they're like, that sounds like they're chasing these crazy people. It's the person that's going to jump off the bridge. It's the person that's running in traffic. It's and it is. I mean, that is part of the situations, but it's also the person that is hungry and doesn't know where to get food that day, or they're in a convenience store and they're confused and they're lost and they just don't know where to go. And we're hopefully getting those folks before it gets to the point where they do something that gets them into some type of criminal charge or has to be transported to the emergency room. A lot of times it's just a matter of just asking them, hey, are you okay? What can I do for you today?
Yeah. Over that 33 years, and I've been a nurse almost 20, so society has changed.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's sometimes hard for some people to grasp, that what you saw 33 years ago compared to what you see today is vastly different.
Absolutely. And some of that is a shift in recognizing that we don't have to wait till these folks are completely in crisis before we help them. But that goes for the first responders as well. I mean, when I started, you didn't show emotion. You didn't have any kind of a breakdown after calls. You went from call to call to call. You were asked to treat abnormal situations as normal and just keep on moving. So I think the shift has been universal in the fact that officers and first responders now view things differently. I think from a medical side, things are viewed differently. And definitely from a public perspective, I think we're seeing things viewed differently. And I think that is the key, is to keep that moving in the right direction and keep focus on the fact of, that there are better ways to do things. And, we need to keep evolving and changing. And the days of, and I agree to a certain extent of, if it isn't broke, let's not fix it. But the problem is it's been broke for a long time, so it's time to fix it.
It's time to intervene. It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we talk generationally too, twofold. So number one, we talk older generations in our community. They didn't talk about mental health. They weren't issues.
No.
And I know we've had that in discussions and meetings that we've been in, is that, it's taken some people a lot to really grasp this concept that we have this whole team being built around mental health right now.
Absolutely, and that's one of the biggest things that I've seen, even from just a hiring perspective, is a lot of folks coming in now that are interviewing for jobs, whether it's at the department or PD or wherever it is. One of the things they're asking is, well, what are your programs for mental health? I mean, we're seeing that change, but yeah, it's there's definitely a shift among the generations, and I think for the better. It's because the tail end of my generation was still in that of, if you're asking for help, this might not be the job for you. You may need to find something else to do. So, and, one of the bravest sentences you can say is, I need help. And we need to understand that it's okay not to be okay. And there's resources and there's folks out there with their hand out just waiting to help you.
So if you're someone out in the community listening or watching this back, whatever it may be, and you're to that point and you're ready to say, I need help, or someone that needs help, how can they get in contact with CIT?
They can go through 911, obviously. They have both emergency and non-emergency numbers. They can call the sheriff's department. We're more than happy to. I mean,
they will find you.
They will find me. I was going to say they have the ability to find me wherever I'm at and do so. So that's not a problem. But those are the two easiest ways to do it. Either calling the sheriff's department or calling the 911, and we'll reach out.
What are some of the community resources you're looking forward to seeing next week? Are you?
Obviously, all of our partners from the medical community, our partners from the mental health community, all of our folks that came in from food resources, clothing resources, financial resources. All of that group is extremely helpful, and again, it's something that's not thought of when you think of CIT, but the food pantries, the Bread of Life, and places like that. Our homes and our organizations that support different people. You have the ARC, you have Speranza House, you have a lot of other folks that have been in the background and have been in the forefront of changing people's lives through what they're doing, and those are the folks that we're reaching out to kind of not only asking for help, but how can we help you, as well as a lot of people don't think about the county trustee's office. I mean, there's a lot of resources there. So all of those folks, United Fund, Decatur County Community Foundation, DCCF has kind of been our guiding light for a lot of this program. So we want all those folks to come out and just so we can show the entire community what they, in many cases, have quietly been doing behind the scenes for years.
I think the exciting part is the community that we're building with the mental health assistance here in this county, and being on the backside of being able to kind of watch it grow up. There's just so many resources, and we're all in it to win it, is the way I look at it. We are all there for the good.
Absolutely. It was, like I said, having that panel come in and having, because I was in the back of the classroom. I get this text, hey, there's people in the lobby. And I really thought I was going to walk out there and there'd be like 4 or 5 people. And to see like 25, 26 people out there, and they're all talking, collaborating, and we do this and we do that, and hey, we need to get together and we need to look at this, and it was just tremendous to not only realize that we have a lot more resources than people think or know about, but also the fact that they're all willing to get together and collaborate and really change the community for the better, and whether it's mental health, whether it's food insecurity or clothing insecurity or any part of that, housing is a big thing. Transportation is a huge thing. There's a lot of things to tackle, but it was really neat to see everybody come together and kind of gear up toward, okay, somebody's ready to make a change. And
we're doing this.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, it's important, like, you guys are reaching out into schools, like this is across the community. So we're targeting from as young as we can.
Absolutely.
All the way up.
Absolutely. It's a program that we've been out to several of the school districts just in the last week or so, just kind of, hey, here's our faces. This is who we are. If call if you need help. But the exciting part is then, the next day, the next afternoon, 2 days later, we're getting that call and they're saying, hey, is this something you guys can do? This is what we have. Is there's something you can do? And a lot of it is yes, absolutely. Or, well, we don't, but I tell you what, we're coming and we're bringing this resource. So it's been just really exciting to kind of see how everybody is getting involved and, really making a conscious effort to say, what, it's time. Let's get this done.
All right. Next Thursday, the
next
29th.
Next Thursday, 29th.
6 to 7:30. Greensburg Junior High School.
7 to 8:30.
7 to 8:30. I've done that all week. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
I should read my paper that's laying over there, but details, right? Yes.
There you go.
7 to 8:30. Come out. So many resources. I'm excited to be there. There's just so much going on in the community, and I think that just come out and visit because you will learn so much.
Absolutely. Just come out, get a chance. We've got some flyers and pamphlets, and we're encouraging everybody that comes out to bring whatever resources they have and present to the community. And We really want a big crowd, and we really want to reach out and make sure that everybody knows what's going on and the positive change that's being made.
All right. Again, May is Mental Health Month, so great month to kick it off and get the
Absolutely.
awareness out there. And we thank you for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. It's Tree Country 1330. It's 10:32. And again, next Thursday, the 29th, from 7 to 8:30.